Hello, my name is Abeer Majuja, and I will go through my presentation titled Curating My Ideal Self. So, how humbling is it to know that the version of me in my head is actually different from how everyone sees me? So, I went through responses and I had time to reflect on what was said about me and compared to how I felt about myself. Many of them actually highlighted my strengths as well as areas that I can improve on. So the people I interviewed was Hamad, my brother, Mariam, my sister, my best friend, a close friend, and a colleague. All these people represent different parts of my life. So they've seen me in different light and they're able to speak about me in different ways. So I will point out 3 patterns from the responses, compare my public self with my perceived self, and finally identify areas that I need to improve and positive things that I need to maintain. So the 3 patterns I noticed were that I am resilient, meaning that I am dependable, self-sufficient, and reliable. And one of the quotes was that I carry a lot and I don't show it, and that I carry the world on my head. So this, I could relate it to the cost concept of perception because that is how they perceive me. Then the second pattern was that I am emotionally deep and I'm a good listener. So I prioritize meaningful relationships, and how I do that is by having emotionally deep conversations. I'm also a good listener, and people come to me to listen to their problems. So one of the quotes was that you are deep, loyal, and a good listener. And the cost concept that I could relate it to was that of therapeutic listening concept. Another one was that I have a great work ethic and that I try having high standards and perfectionism. With this, I found it to be true and actually aligns with the self-image that I have. So I actually value integrity both in my life and work, and I am intentional in everything I do. So at work, they say that I understand systems and patterns at work, and that I have an obsession with doing things properly. The next one, I'll speak about how my perceived self and public self relate or differ. So my public self, I'm seen as being thoughtful and aware. I'm responsible and disciplined. I'm reliable. And the quote, you're deep, loyal, and a good listener also, it came to surface. So when I see myself, the way I perceive myself is that the strength they talk about sometimes might feel like overwhelmed. So you can see how it differs. Perfectionism sometimes is crippling because I may strive to really be perfect and end up not doing anything. And then also, I value independence, which can lead to isolation. So there was a quote from my colleague, that's my manager, that said that you underestimate your abilities. So the cost concept is actually my self-perception actually, and the perception that is of the public. And some are the same and some differ. So my ideal self versus the real self, how I would ideally want to be is more expressive and ask for help, and not waiting to be perfect in order to act. So how I will apply my strengths going forward. So I have them in my workplace. I will try to reduce the act of trying to really be perfect. So maybe take initiative a little bit more. Another one is reduce the internal doubt and act even when not ready, and take external feedback instead of using the internal doubt. In my relationships, something that I would want to continue doing is being a good listener and empathetic when relating with friends and family, because that is one of the traits that came up. With myself, I would want to show myself more compassion, just like I show others when I listen to them. That is a trait I would want to practice on myself more. I would want to be less self-critical and not always chase perfection. And I would want my self-concept to change from seeing vulnerability as a strength and not a weakness. So things that were recurrent in the interviews are my emotional depth, resilience, good listening, and my high standards at work and in my personal life. I was able to compare the public self and how I perceive myself, and based on that, I hope that I can actualize my ideal self. So from the personal narrative assignment, I got to actually learn that sometimes knowing how others see us can help us see things we don't see in ourselves and actually grow. So the references, I got them from these 3 video lectures, from the class video lectures. And yeah, that's the end. Thank you so much.